Hello friends, you are 17A19987. We have a big episode today, very big. There is a lot that happened here today, and so we are going to get right into the action. With I think this is the third battle with Marnie? I think so. We have the last two gym leaders today, which are Piers and Raihan, the Dark and Dragon type gym leaders. But before we can get to Piers, we have to fight against his sister, Marnie. Spoiler alert, but yeah, if you have played the game by now, you should know. So, we are finally building up to the end game of this after a long time. Always keep in mind when I show you these gameplays that we are editing out hours upon hours of playtime. I think the amount that I had for just this gameplay was like 6 hours, and I edited out a ton. So, I'm trying to make it as condensed as I can, guys. But, sit back and enjoy. We will get through a lot of cool battles today. And we'll finally have all of our gym badges, which is definitely exciting. So, looking at the battle at hand at the moment, it's interesting that Marnie healed her Pokemon at the start. His life part is not especially powerful by any means. Toxicroak excuse me. Toxicroak is the one Pokemon on her party that's different than the others, being a poison fighting type, where the rest of her Pokemon are dark. So that can throw a lot of people for a loop. So you just gotta be ready. Yeah, I wasn't sure what to do with this. I figured Toxicroak probably had a dark type move. But, so we sent in Mai to try out. And it, of course, took the hit quite well. But she got really lucky with a crit poison jab. Is that really what you say? You would say crit poison jab. Wow, that's a mouthful. So this Toxicroak kept using Swagger on us, which is pretty annoying. And yes, as I thought, it had Sucker Punch. But we are statusing right now, so Sucker Punch doesn't hit, it only hits if you use an attack, as I'm sure some of you know. I've been really busy lately in real life, getting ready for a possible college semester, so I'm trying to get this squeezed in before all of that happens. And I'm also excited to show other gameplays of more than just Pokemon as well. I'll probably make an update video of it once I'm done with this playthrough, I think. So, as you can see, Mai is not really... I don't really like healing when my Pokemon is poisoned, but we have to do it. And I don't have full restores yet at this point in the game, so... yes, it's going to Swagger us, which is quite irritating. Also, another thing that has made recording a little more difficult is there's been a lot of thunderstorms lately, and if you are a gamer like me, you will know that if you use like PC and console games, you know that makes thunderstorms make your life a lot more difficult in a lot of ways. So that sometimes threw off my groove as well. But today we are back again. And yes, I'm excited definitely because with the nearing of the end game and the completion of this game's Elite Four, you can call it that, and defeating Champion Leon, we will finally be able to move on to the end game. Well, not end game, post game. I'm thinking I'm likely going to put the entire end game video into one video, which would be a pretty long video, but it would be jam-packed with action. I don't know, I'll see. It depends on how much material there is, but I can already tell you there's like 8 pretty big battles. So, we'll see. I really want to get it done as soon as possible, though. So, we sent out Mr. Mister's been such a useful asset to the team. See, even if Marnie uses swagger on Mr., it's not going to matter very much. Because not only do I have withdrawal that I'm using right now, but the sand tomb that I've been using, yes, was coming in pretty conveniently, actually. And it doesn't matter what I do this turn, Toxicroak is going to faint from the sand tomb and from the burn. So, we're still confused. See, look how little, that is like 2 points of damage. It did not matter. Did not matter. So, Marnie's only got 4 Pokemon. Next mon is Scrafty. Scrafty is an ordinarily pretty threatening Pokemon. But with a Pokemon as bulky as Mr., it doesn't really matter. I could wall this thing for days. I like wall Pokemon like Shuckle and Pyukumuku, Tangrowth, you know, just to name a few, that are really, really just hard to kill. Mr. is kind of tricky because he's only defense, so, but as you can see, I've kind of acclimated to using him and getting used to how to use him. And you can see the nice thing is, for certain Pokemon, they don't have any way of hurting Mr. So, this Scrafty can't really do anything to us. Though I do think I swap out to something else. For some of these gameplays, I recorded them a few days before, so I'm just telling you right now, I'm not going to remember everything. But I will do my best to tell you what has happened. So, or what I was thinking in the process, I suppose. So, as you can see, all of our Pokemon love to use swagger. Interestingly enough, we are going to fight Marnie in the end game of this, so we'll end up fighting her again. But her in-game team is a lot different. So yeah, we're just kind of weakening her down. Even asleep, Mr. is just gonna win this battle because she can't really do much to me. I can't believe Sand Tomb is this effective. I really can't believe it. Later I do teach Mr. Sandstorm, which is, in some situations it's not a good thing, in some situations it is. But what Sandstorm is most famous for is if you use Sandstorm on a rock type Pokemon, it will raise the rock type's Pokemon's special defense. So that would technically make Mr. even bulkier, which is unbelievable to me. It's just, you know, this is like the 8th gen of Pokemon. I mean, we've come a long way since the 2nd gen of Pokemon, where Shuckle is from. But I've played since 2nd gen, and I can tell you I've never used Shuckle. When I was a kid, and I got my first trade over Shuckle that was known as Shucky, which is, man, that's a callback. That's old, man. 2000, baby. Year 2000. When I was a kid, I didn't understand how to use Shuckle. When you send out a Pokemon as a kid, you kind of judge it by how strong it is, right? So you throw out your Shuckle and you're like, well, this Shuckle isn't doing very much damage. And I didn't understand at the time that defense was a thing, and that, so when you're a kid, you have a completely different mindset on how to play the game, which I think is kind of a funny thing to look back at now. So, we have Morpeko here. Easily her strongest Pokemon on the team. Mr. could probably close this out, but I was deciding it was kind of getting boring. So, I'm just going to throw in Rock Smash. Morpeko is a dark type, so Rock Smash can do super effective damage. She got a lucky crit right out of the bat. I swear, Morpeko is a Pokemon that seems to get really lucky. Like, tends to get lots of hacks and flinch and paralysis and just kind of like TT. Can be a really annoying Pokemon to play against. So, but I do like Morpeko. First time I ever played Sword and Shield, I was like, this Pokemon's so cool. It also beat me up. Her first time I fought Marnie, her Morpeko just destroyed me. But yeah, with our close combat was all that was needed. And now we are going to march into Spike Move. I must say, Spike Move is... Oh, but we have an important thing that happened beforehand that is relevant to the future. So, for like, not exaggerating, probably about 2 hours. 2 long hours. I sought to catch a Remoraid. So look at this here, carefully. There's typically 2 Pokemon that will appear. In this case it was Mantikes. And I'm trying to catch a Remoraid, which Remoraid is this small little fish. You just saw one on the screen, but it was male, and you know I do females only. So, the problem with catching Remoraid is it darts around everywhere, and it has a tiny overworld model. Tiny overworld model. So, if you want to catch it, like the normal way of just running into them, sorry about all this swapping in and out. If you want to catch it ordinarily, you're going to have to run into them a lot. So I think at this point I was getting pretty irritated, because I'm not exaggerating, catching this Pokemon was quite difficult. So there's one right there. They generally dart in a triangle formation. I just have to happen to intersect it. So, see, in that situation, the Mantike went towards us. I did think about getting a Mantine, but it wasn't what I was looking for. There's nothing wrong with water flying types. And, interestingly enough, Mantine is a very, especially bulky Pokemon. Well, speaking of Mantine, yeah, it has astronomical special defense. This thing could eat special attacks all day. But that's not what I'm looking for. I already have some good bulky Pokemon, so I don't need Mantine. I was also on the hunt for a good water-type Pokemon. I've been hurting for a good water-type Pokemon for a while. For some reason, I always run into the Mantikes. I never figured that out. But yeah, this is probably one drawback of Sword and Shield. The overworld models can be sometimes frustrating to deal with. Whalmer's model, by comparison, is enormous, so I was always running into it. And then Remoraid's model was tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. So trying to get the model to come towards you, oh, it's quite irritating. Quite irritating. So as you can see, we're having trouble predicting where it'll land. It almost touched me there. Then it went the complete opposite direction. So I edited a lot of it out because this was a frustrating process. Frustrating indeed. I suppose I should mention at this point that in between the episodes I have also searched around the towns and in the other parts of Sword and Shield. And I got a whole bunch of items. I got some TMs, got some rare items, some evolutionary items that'll be useful for the future. You need them when you're going into the end game too. So as you can see, we're kind of waiting for the two Pokemon that we need. Typically it's a Mantike and a Remoraid. So there's a Remoraid again. And I was kind of punishing myself a little too much. I really wanted a female Remoraid, because that's just how I do things. However, I kept running into male Remoraids. I probably ran into like 4 of them, and because it was so difficult even just to touch them, you see pretty quickly I was having trouble. A lot of trouble. So if you are going to catch a Remoraid, my recommendation would be just to fish for one. Just fish for one. It's way easier. I was doing it the hard way. Oh my gosh, I almost touched it. Almost touched it. And finally, this time it came up underneath us. But I believe this is the one. Yes. Okay. So we finally ran into our like 5th Remoraid. And I decided this is a good one. You have to be really careful because it's kind of a delicate Pokemon, and it's easy to faint. So, partially just because it's under evolved though. So I'm not going to make this very complicated. I'm just going to throw a net ball and pray. Just pray. That was a nice capture. And we finally caught one. Well, yeah, we finally got what we were looking for, because they were all male beforehand. The water they shoot from their mouths can hit moving prey from more than 300 feet away. 300 feet? How much is that in miles? How much is that in meters? Man, that's really long. It's really long. I'll make a note to include that. But we finally caught it, named it Crockett. And if you know anything about 2nd Gen Pokemon, you'll know what Remoraid evolves into. So I did some training, as you can see here. We just went around the wild area and just trained against random wild Pokemon that we found. I challenged Noivern, the Noivern near Motostoke, because I knew Noivern would be a strong Pokemon. And with TT it was easy. All you had to do was level up Crockett 1 level, because it evolves at 25, so it was way above. Way above. And we got our Octillery. I really like Octillery. Octillery is such a cool Pokemon. And I'll explain in a second. It has a tendency to want to be in holes. It prefers rock crags or pots and sprays ink from them before attacking. This Pokemon is literally just, it's a cannon. Look at the stats on this thing. 107 attack, 101 special attack. It has amazing move pool. Came with Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Bullet Seed. I taught it Water Pulse, and now I'm going to teach it Gunk Shot, which does 120 damage. So basically how this Pokemon works is, it's not fast, its defenses are pretty average, but Crockett's attack stats are through the roof. Through the roof. I'm gonna give her a zoom lens so that her Hydro Pump and basically so that her inaccurate moves are able to hit all the time. And we are going to finally move on to fighting Piers. This time, I decided I am just going to skip right to the gym battle. Because especially with the dark type gym, one problem is it takes like 12 minutes just to reach him. So we're just gonna skip right to Piers. I know this is breaking tradition, it really is. But the dark type gym trainers were not that interesting. So, but Piers is definitely interesting. So we're gonna start out with his Scrafty. Unlike Marnie's Pokemon, Piers' Pokemon are pretty tough, no question. Normally I replace the music of the gym battles, but I happen to really like this gym battles music. It's unique. It's got that rock theme. It's nice. It's really nice. And so TT is, I generally start with TT so we can get some paralysis off, and that's exactly what we did. So, I'm gonna pull TT out and send in our new team member, Imangi. Imangi is a Rebombi from 7th Gen. She has Draining Kiss, Pollen Puff, Aromatherapy, and I'm forgetting one, but all you really need to know is she has Draining Kiss, which does about 50 damage, but it gives damage back to it. I decided we really needed a fairy type Pokemon, and there's a lot of really good fairies to choose from, a lot of really good ones. But I really liked what Rebombi was able to offer, and having both bug and fairy typing available. And bug is also nice typing to have. So we are just going to keep Draining Kiss, but unfortunately the classic sand attack strategy where he lowers my accuracy was actually working unbelievably. You will notice that, ironically, just like Marnie, Piers has 4 Pokemon, but his 4 Pokemon are quite strong, so you don't want to discount him. He's one of those gym leaders where it's really easy to underestimate him, and then you get throttled, or you lose a lot of Pokemon in the fight. So my advice if you're ever facing Piers, no matter what Pokemon you have, is just don't underestimate him. Don't. Because then he'll pull a move on you that you don't expect. That's just how he fights. So, thankfully, Imangi was doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the gym trainers, but the Pokemon that really is going to shine in this is Rock Smash, because it's got that move advantage. So he sends out Malamar. Malamar, as he just mentioned, having the contrary ability, also is a dark psychic type. So we really don't want to fight Malamar. It's dangerous. What did I do for Malamar? Let's just see. Yeah, I thought I swapped in for Imangi. Malamar is really dangerous. It has a lot of moves that hit back on you for the attacks you use. But I got lucky and just used Psycho Cut on me. So we're just gonna go for a Draining Kiss. One thing I really like about Rebombi is this Pokemon is insanely fast. It actually... I have 2 other really fast Pokemon. TT is really fast, and Kiku is also really fast. But Imangi ends up being kind of in the middle in between the 2. It's not as fast as TT, but it is faster than Kiku somehow. So Imangi is quite fast, and it hits pretty hard too. So here's one of his signature Pokemon, Obstagoon. Now, it is an important reminder that he can't use Dynamax in this battle, but he honestly doesn't need it because his Pokemon are pretty strong. We had Charm, and that lowered his attack by 2 stages. He used Shadow Claw, but it actually missed, so that was pretty lucky. We were kind of in a tough position. Iron Angie wouldn't be able to take an attack there, so I sent out Mister. And he's going to start using Obstruct. Obstruct is a strange move. I'll put it up here on the screen, I think. Because it is a move that has some unique properties. And he uses it with, well, I mean, it's Obstagoon's signature move, really. But as you can see here, it's kind of standard for Mister now. Mister can take pretty much anything that he can do. Obstagoon is a normal dark type, which is a unusual typing. And it also, unfortunately, makes Obstagoon 4 times weak to fighting attacks. But Obstagoon has a lot of counter attacks. It literally has counter, but then it also has a move that weakens your attacks if you use it. So it actually used counter on us for that sand tomb, but it doesn't do enough damage to take us out because we're Mister. And yeah, to a lot of other Pokemon, this would be a pretty threatening matchup. But to a Pokemon like Mister that's just such a rock, I can do anything I need, pretty much, and just heal it off with Rest if I want. I'm not sure if I'll keep Mister for the end game. I don't deny that Mister would be helpful, though. So as you can see, just from using Sand Tomb and Struggle Bug, we have weakened it down to less than half health. He keeps using Obstruct, but he's not really using it correctly. And yeah, just you know, this is kind of a stally thing to do. It's not always something I like to do, and it's not exactly the most exciting battle material, but I just have to remind you, Obstagoon is a really hard to defeat Pokemon in a lot of ways. It's a surprisingly well-designed Pokemon. It really is. But it's not going to survive this next turn. I thought that Sand Tomb would potentially wear off this turn, but it actually didn't, which surprised me. So yes, Sand Tomb will finish it off. And we just kind of waded our way through that battle. Now he has only one left. And it's got a dramatic entry. The Skuntank. Now thankfully with Skuntank, we had one Pokemon that Mr. still has Sand Tomb, and that's super effective on Skuntank. It's gonna Sucker Punch us, which, to be fair, does actually some pretty reasonable damage on a Shuckle. But we're gonna start using this on it again. Unfortunately, if Skuntank does much else, it's going to Fame Mister. So I'm not even gonna mess around anymore. I'm just gonna send in Rock Smash, so that we can start taking this thing out. It does land a Toxic on us, but it's not gonna matter, because Rock Smash is not planning to stay around, if you know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna start with our standard 1-2 punch configuration, whacking for a little extra damage, and we are going to just, I think we're just gonna nail him with a close combat after this. No, actually I go for the Revenge. Ah, that didn't work. So he used a defense lowering attack, and so now Revenge isn't going to do as much damage. Revenge is dependent on the move that you get hit by. So now he's about at 3rd health. I think about anything would take him out. Skuntank is faster than us, But I'm just gonna go for an Ice Punch. He's gonna use Sucker Punch. It won't do enough damage to take us out. And we are just going to nail him with an Ice Punch. Interestingly, Aftermath probably would have taken us out if we were lower health, but no, not today. So we did pretty well in Pier's gym. The gym trainer battles were not too important to mention. And now with Pier's out of the way, we are going to skip a lot, and go straight to Raihan. Raihan's gym, similarly to Pier's gym, is not too exciting. The most important thing with Raihan's gym is it's all double battles. We're going to be able to catch Pokemon up to level 55. He gives us a Dark Uniform, and he gives us Snarl, which honestly Snarl's not that great of an attack. So, heading on to the pitch with Raihan. This is a double battle, and Raihan's team is easily the most difficult, if not one of the most difficult of the gym leaders. If you don't know how to fight Raihan, you're probably going to have a really rough time first time you fight him. The most important thing is you really need an Ice type. You really need an Ice type. But because it's a double battle, the way he counters this is he starts with his Gigalith, which also his Gigalith also uses it has Sandstream, and it also uses Sandstorm. So the Sandstorm will pop off as soon as you go in. I sent out Crockett and Imangi for this. Imangi just has good neutral coverage. Crockett is here specifically to take out Gigalith, pretty much. So yeah, this is pretty straightforward. We're going to use Draining Kiss on Flygon. Flygon has slightly raised accuracy because of the Sandstorm, so it may be more difficult to hit. Crockett goes for the Hydro Pulp and lands it, but because Gigalith is in the Sandstorm, it has higher special defense. It is Body Press and took out a good amount of damage off of Crockett. Crockett does have Ice Beam, so I can use that to my advantage. We have to get rid of this Gigalith right away. That's my advice. If you fight against Raihan, take out the Gigalith right away. It is very annoying if you don't. So that's an easy takedown for Flygon. Pretty good. And Imangi is easily at 3/4 super health bar, which is also pretty good for the next part of this battle. Going for the safe water pulse, and that was enough. So that was pretty clean. Could have been worse. But he's gonna send out his next two, which are just as dangerous. He's gonna send out Duraludon. This is a Gigantamax Duraludon, and Sandaconda. Now, this is an interesting side note, but Sandaconda has a ability that if you hit it with a physical move, it will cause a Sandstorm. Now, the Sandstorm hasn't popped off yet, but we're not even going to mess around with Sandaconda. We're just going to nail it with an Ice Beam. Rock Smash will be our leader for taking out Duraludon. Duraludon has some pretty interesting typing, being a Steel Dragon. So it's weak to ground and fighting, but not fire, because of the Dragon type. So if you are going into this battle, you really need either a strong ground type or a strong fighting type to take down Duraludon. The Duraludon has better defense and special defense, so you may be able to use like a really strong water attack or something. Actually no, water would be resisted. Huh, yeah, water would be resisted. But interestingly, ice would not be resisted. Kind of interesting how that works. So Crockett is going to use Ice Beam here. and that did a lot of damage. That's exactly why Crockett is in the battle. Unfortunately, that last attack paralyzed Rock Smash. Well, Rock Smash got paralyzed by Claire, that's right. We are also going to Dynamax, and I'm going to have Crockett take care of the Sandaconda while I'm at it. So we're going to get our Dynamaxed Hitmonchan. And yeah, that's a pretty significant power boost, and Max Knuckle will do a lot of damage, no question. Sandaconda protected here, which is kind of a lame move to do. And interestingly, it used Max Knuckle on me, which is not going to do very much, but it does raise its attack stats for both of its Pokemon. And as you see, our Ice Beam was protected, and now we're going to use Max Knuckle. And almost half health. Almost. But that's a lot for Pteranodon, so we're just going to keep nailing it. Crockett is hanging in. Honestly, I was pretty surprised Crockett was able to keep going through all of this. And Max Knuckle again. Ice Beam again, because we have to get rid of Sandaconda. It's going to Steel Spike us, which did a lot of damage, probably because it was stat boosted, and Gigantamax. But it didn't do enough to defeat us, unfortunately. He double teamed me. That was so dirty. But yes, he did do that, and that was a good move. I'm not even angry. And we finished off a Sandaconda, so bye-bye. So now we just have to deal with this annoying Duraludon. The Sandstorm conveniently faded away. And now we're ready for... I think I used Kiku to finish it off. Yeah, because Kiku's... Well, hold on. Yeah, I used Mai, and I know why. Mai's shadow punches can go right through Duraludon. Not like literally because it's a ghost, but it's neutral, so it would at least do neutral damage. I added Disable over Payback recently, because Disable is occasionally really useful. Fortunately, Crockett finally took the L and fainted, but good job, Crockett, you did everything you were supposed to do. We're going to burn it, and now it's going to be severely crippled. Burn has been so helpful in this playthrough. So helpful. Okay, now we send in Kiku. So with both Kiku and Mai against his Duraludon, we should be able to handle this, right? We're gonna use Pyro Ball, just start hit with our strong oh, actually I went for the Swag Fire Spin. Swag Fire Spin, let's do it. I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to do that at all. If Duraludon wasn't burned, Kiku probably would have fainted right there, by the way. But yeah, with the burn and the fire spin, Duraludon is not gonna last. One more attack is all we need. But I'm just gonna go for a double kick. As you can see, I'm kind of just toying with him at this point. I could do about any attack and it would faint him. Take a deep sigh. We finally have beaten all the gym leaders. It's been a long road, and some of them gave us a lot of trouble, Ryan included. But we did it. We beat them. They're out of the way, don't have to do it anymore. Raihan will give us, well, now we'll be able to catch Pokemon of any level. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that would carry over into the end game either. Got all of our badges. and he will give us Breaking Swipe, which is a dragon-like, yeah, it's a tail attack with dragon Pokemon, but it's kind of a weird attack. I'm not sure if I'll end up using it. And actually, when I think about it, I don't think any of my Pokemon even have tails, so that wouldn't even work. Now I realize that. Yeah, Breaking Swipe. So now, we finally can move on. Oh, it lowers our attack stats, that's what it does. Well, that's kind of a nice little thing. We've gotten Raihan out of the way, and we will take the tram over to, we skipped some more story, of course, and we're going to take the tram right over into the new route. This route basically acts as this game's version of Victory Road. It's very similar to a Victory Road. So you have some trainers here, and they all are pretty strong. We're going to speed it up a little bit because it nearly fainted me, but that gunk shot popped off, and that fainted his Gardevoir, which is a pretty swag move. Pretty good move. That's exactly why I keep Gunk Shot on Crockett, because it is an astronomical physical damage. 107 attack, probably higher than that now, probably like 111 attack, with a 125 power move. So we start out with TT on this Steelix. I'm going to send in Crockett because it has Hydro Pump. Unfortunately, Steelix digs, I guess past tense would be Doug. And we're on another route where we take hail damage, but it's not going to live a Hydro Pump from this. No way. Mudsdale comes out. We use Hydro Pump, but we missed, which, you know, is always a risk. In retrospect, I should have used Water Pulse. And we do have another powerful attack. We're going to use Draining Kiss to lower its HP a little bit, and then we're going to use Draining Kiss again to lower its HP a little bit, and then we are going to use Pollen Puff, which is a grass type move. So, or no, it's a bug type move. At this point, we started searching. Well, no, I think I fought a few more battles. But when I was in this route, my next objective was to catch a... Crap, why am I forgetting the name of it now? To catch a specific rock-type Pokemon that only appears here and even rarer in a few certain locations. We were looking for... I'll put it on the screen because I forgot, because I'm just forgetful. But we are going into this next battle, and Weavile is not a huge threat because any of our fighting type moves will take it out very easily. Weavile is very weak to fighting type moves. Crockett tried to learn Soak again. I didn't learn Dazzling Gleam because I needed the health restore. Now this Claydol actually gave us some trouble. Surprisingly. But yes, it did actually give us some trouble. And we're going to start off with a Draining Kiss and get some of our health back. Its extra sensories are doing quite a lot of damage, and the ice, or the hail is not helping. But Pollen Puff was enough to keep it out. Pollen Puff was enough. Pollen Puff was enough? No. Pollen Puff did enough damage to finish it off. And now we have just these two trainers over here. There's that postal worker hiding behind the rock. It's kind of hard to see. Thankfully, this guy has flying type Pokemon, but TT is more than a match for them. There's not much they can really do to TT. Sorry, I took a sip. Oh, he had a Flygon. Why the heck does he have a Flygon? Is it because they're both wearing Lens? Is that it? Well, it doesn't matter. we're gonna use Draining Kiss and Steel itself. I really like Draining Kiss. I can see why the Fairy type gym leader was using it now. Though Rubombi came with the move, I didn't have to teach it via TM. So the Pokemon I was looking for was, well, we're not gonna get to that point yet. Hold on. We need to take out this Pelipper. Very easy since it was dual effective. And he has a Noctowl, which I'm just like, Noctowl? Really? I do like Noctowl, don't get me wrong, but it's just TT is more than a match for that. So, alright, so the Pokemon we were looking for is a Pokemon that I have actually been thinking about catching this entire playthrough. And I mean entire playthrough. Ever since the beginning. I've played through Sword and Shield 2 times now, of course. And the first time I played through, I didn't even know this Pokemon appeared. This Pokemon appeared in the grass. Well, it turns out it's because this sword exclusive Pokemon only appears 2% of the time in the grass, which means I don't even see it as an overworld encounter. So I actually have to keep looking in the grass to find it the old-fashioned way, unbelievably. And I looked for a long time because there was a lot of Pokemon that I ran into, and I kept running into Beartix and you know, I didn't want them at all. Alright, so what we're looking for is we're looking for Stonjourner. We're looking for Stonjourner. Which, if you think way back a few episodes ago to, I think it was the fifth part, with Gordy. Gordy had a Stonjourner, just coincidentally. If you played it through Shield, Stonjourner doesn't even appear in Shield, but then you wouldn't even know Stonjourner exists, I guess. Stonjourner is a rock type. Here we go. That is very similar to Sudowoodo in a lot of ways. It's slow, it doesn't have very good special defense, but its attack and defense stats are through the roof. Through the roof. This thing will hit very hard. We're going to burn it. And we're just going to carefully weaken it down. It was surprisingly difficult to catch. Not because it was a tough Pokemon. I mean, once you burned it, it wasn't as tough. But because the hail, combined with the burn, was actually making it more difficult to catch. Unbelievably. So, I used Disable to take out its rock slide. We tried a level ball. The level ball did not work. And we're going to try a Ultra Ball now, because I didn't have any other balls that really worked for it. And we caught our first Stonjourner. And I'll read its description. Excuse me. I think I actually didn't read its description. I might be wrong. But I caught 3 Stonjourners. 3. The first 2 had abilities, not abilities, natures I really didn't like. They had bad natures. So we caught 3 of them, but I ended up sticking with this one. Stonjourner, like I said, it's just a Pokemon. It's one of those Pokemon you see and like, oh, I love it. I love rock types. I really love rock types. And I knew when I played through Sword again, I really wanted to catch and use Stonjourner, even though it appears after all the gym patches at the end game. It appears late into the game. Pretty much Victory Road equivalent for this game. So I was debating what to name this thing. I've actually named 2 of them already. And we're just going to name her Dagon. It's an extremely specific reference. And I wouldn't blame you if you don't know. But we're just going to call her Dagon. So, let's take a look at her really quick. And there's also the 2 other ones I caught. Here's Dagon. She has a special defense boosting nature, which is not actually that helpful. Because, it lures... I mean, its special defense is not very good, but it's her attack and her attack and defense were very high, as you saw. 126 attack, almost 130 defense. I mean, here she is. She has a steel type attack, so we were able to use that. Her steel type attack is heavy press, and it doesn't look like it, but Dagon is actually extremely heavy. She weighs 1,200 pounds. So, she is quite heavy. So her steel type heavy press move will do a lot of damage. Initially I had her equipped with a assault vest, which will make her special defense a bit higher. Watch this rock slide, just absolutely annihilated that Darmanitan. But she won't be able to fight this phalanx, so we'll pull her out. And yeah, these are the last trainers before we go into Winden for all the final battles. And like I said, the next episode, next part, I'll likely try to cram it into one enormous video. It will be a long video, it likely will. And if that doesn't work, I might split it into 2 videos, but I really don't want to do that. So, Maimai was able to take out that phalanx pretty well, and then there's a grab locked. We're just gonna use the same strategy though. Yeah, I like including the Victor Red trainers because they're pretty tough trainers. So, yes, it's been a long road, but now we are finally to the end game. And as of this recording, this voice recording, I have not actually started playing the end game, though I assure you I'm definitely going to get to it. Because now we're in Winden, and there's a lot to do in Winden. There's a lot to do in Winden. And these are the final trainers for this area. They're actually returning trainers, unbelievably. We fought them way back after the first gym. And if you can remember that, then man, that's some incredible memory, honestly. So they're kind of just returnees. Unfortunately, Dagon did not live that thunder, unfortunately. Sorry, Dagon. But Pyro Ball will definitely take out the Kling Kling. And Bite. And it didn't work. It used a new move I'd never heard of before, Eerie Impulse. He has a Togedemaru. Togedemaru is a problem, so I'm just going to take care of it right away. Boom, bam, get out of here. And now we just have this lady's 2 Pokemon. Her Heliolisk is still alive, and she has 1 more. So, yes, we are almost out of this. Just 1 more Pokemon to fight. We actually learned Wild Charge for TT, which is good. Discharge is a good move, but in double battles it hits all the Pokemon on the field, including yours. So we actually used Wild Charge here. Headbutt, and then here you go. That did a lot of damage. It's a recoiling move, so it hurts you when you use it. But still, that's pretty good. So, we are finished with this Victory Road. And now we're finally on to Winden. Beautiful Winden. Here we go. which is obviously this game's equivalent to London. I won't show all of it on the screen, but I did go shopping and kind of explore Wyndon a little bit for some items. It kind of reminds me of X and Y's main city in its own way. So here we are, Wyndon, the conclusion area of the game, and where we will fight our rivals and gym trainers and everyone in the final conclusion of the game. We are not going to dig into that today, as we've already been through a lot through this gameplay. But next gameplay, we will definitely tackle that. So, yeah, you actually have to register before you can fight, but okay. I want to thank you for watching. This has been York 1781997. Looking forward to the next episode. A lot of really cool battles. I will see you next episode. It'll be jam-packed, and we will finally get through Shazor, pretty much. So, see ya in a few.